Hi, I want to tell you how I got my nickname that I hate to say, but I'll tell you how I got one of the worst nicknames of my life. Here we go. Hi, it's Jeff again, and there was a very dark period in my life where I lived in a town called Fontana. Other people call it different things, but I will give you the official name, which is Fontana. Kind of a funny thing is Fontana is the windiest town. I think it's windier than Chicago. I think Chicago gets mad because Fontana is just so windy. Every time it was picture day at the school I was going to, it was windy. And so my hair looked like Billy. I was out Billy idling Billy Idol's hair. I mean, it was just crazy. This wind, it was a tough time in my life. Anyway, so I was on a, I'm not a sporty kind of a guy. I mean, you can kind of look at me and say, I don't think Jeff's going to win any sprints, any kind of really fast races. I don't think so. And you're right. I'm funny and I got some brains, but my body, when I was watching, what was that Rocky? I think it was Rocky 4, I think, where Rocky was in that mountain cabin and he was doing the push-ups off the log or something. And I'm going, man, that's incredible. I can never do that, but man, that's incredible. Sly, you are amazing. But I'm just not a sporty person. And I'll tell you at the end, the most incredible sport that I actually am good at. So I do enjoy sports. So in some, so at school, they wanted us to play flag football. I was just not very good. They taught us how to play and everything. So they snapped the ball and I got turned around. I caught the ball somehow and I just ran in the direction I was facing, which was the wrong way. My teammates on my team were just so mad at me. They were just frustrated. They started chasing me to do the touchdown. And so when I crossed the line, I spiked the ball and I did the dance and they said, "Okay, wrong way, Roni. You just did a touchback." And at one point I went, "Well, that's good, isn't it?" And they go, "No, it's not good." Oh man. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget. There were certain times in my life where I was playing softball and I remember I threw the ball to someone and it went off a little bit and it hit someone in the head. It was a softball, but still, there were things in my life I knew that sports was not really in my future. I enjoyed baseball because that was easy. But I remember one time I worked in the title plant. I was an examiner. It's not as exciting as you would think, but it's what I did for a while. And one of the ladies in the office said, "Hey, I've got an extra ticket to go to the Ducks, go see the Mighty Ducks. And so you want to go?" I said, "Sure." I had nothing else to do. So we went. I had no idea. I knew there was a puck. I knew that they were on ice, which just makes it all more difficult. You're on skates, on ice. So I started asking questions and the gal that gave me the tickets was trying to kind of explain hockey to me. And then every once in a while she'd go, and then, "Yay! Yeah! Yeah! Okay. All right." So then and there's power plays and all this kind of stuff. And it ended up, to me, it was like nuclear physics or nuclear fusion. There was so much explaining to do. See, that's what I love about baseball. I mean, yeah, there's balks and different things, but baseball is just, you hit the ball, you run around the bases. That's all. Sometimes if it hits the back thing, you get a double, but it's fairly simple. unless there's pine tar involved. But anyway, it's just baseball's for, basketball. You see, that's another one of those things where it's like you just bounce the ball. Yeah, but then you got to move while bouncing the ball, because if you stop, that's bad. And then you got to pass it to somebody else. So it's just so much to think about. Basketball. I respect basketball, but it's hard. I never could play basketball, And then above all that, then you have to shoot the ball and get it through the hoop. It's like, no. I'll encourage the cheerleaders, but beside that, I just don't. Anyway, so sports. I'm just not a very sport guy. And then there's crazy sports like alai. We have the big curve thing and throwing the ball around, But the best sports story I'm going to tell you right now. There was a guy when I was a trainer who was big talker, and he was good at any sport. He really was. And we went out on a kind of a trainer fun night out, and we went bowling. Now, my grandma took me. It's funny to me. Fantasy football is kind of like a bowling league. They ask you, and then you forget how long it is. It's like, man, again, another game. Oh my God, So, Grandma said, "You want to be on the bowling league?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." But about 3 weeks in, I'm going, "How long is this?" But she was very good. This was after my granddad passed away. And so my grandma was very good. She taught me, she goes, "All right, come here, Jeff. I'm going to show you, what your granddad taught me." And she taught me these little tricks about the little slats of board on the bowling lane. I started to kind of get it. And it just, once you learn it, it's like riding a bike, but I don't want to ride a bike these days. So anyway, at this trainer bowling night, the loud, very sporty trainer came out and said, "Okay, you and me, Roni, we're going to go." I go, "Okay, all right." I started to think about how I bowled back in the day. And so I started to kind of set up, and I rolled the ball and I got a strike. I said, "Okay, I know how it is." And the guy next to me, the big sporty guy, he was kind of surprised. And so once I figured out the pocket, I just threw the ball. I didn't even look at the thing, and I just looked at him. Another strike. I probably got my highest game that night, and it was against him. And it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, could I do it again? Maybe. Anyway, that day, that moment was fantastic. I know a lot of people golf. I don't even want to try golfing. Man, it's just so... I respect you. You hit that little ball and you got to not go in the sand traps and all that. But, man. Anyway, so do you, good watchers of this video, do you play sports? What kind of sports do you play? Do you play soccer or football, as other people call it? Do you play golf? What sport do you play? Do you play none of them? Whatever. So let me know in the comments, what kind of sport do you play? And please subscribe, like this video, and let other people know that maybe you don't want to play sports either. That would be great. Until next time, this is Jeff. See ya. Bye.